Good morning and welcome to the driveway. Last year I bought this, my 2014 BMW i3 from Richard Rebuilderson. And since then I fixed the AC, swapped the high voltage battery, and did a few other things to it, including adding a snazzy little subwoofer in the back. And at this point, this is my daily, and I really like driving it, except for one thing. The infotainment is really outdated. All you have is Bluetooth and aux. I don't like aux. I want to be able to use the steering wheel controls, and the Bluetooth is pretty unreliable. And I like using maps even when I know where I'm going, because it can tell me if there's a traffic jam or a road closure or an accident. So I want CarPlay. I have it in my M2, but I drive this more. So, thankfully, Bimertech has my back. They sent me the MMI Pro. This works on, this particular one is for cars with NBT, which is what BMW calls their iDrive that came after CIC. It stands for next big thing. It's real wonderful, BMW. Thank you. Anyway, Bimertech sent me the MMI Pro. This is a CarPlay box. Unlike some for this car, this one does not use Bluetooth to get the audio into the car itself. Some install underneath this rear seat and then Bluetooth into the head unit. This one actually has wires, so I think it should have better sound quality. In the box, instructions, sticker, box. Looks like pretty much any other MMI box. I think the Pro adds in this HDMI input, which is kind of nifty. I don't know if I'll actually use that or not. I'm not sure what I would use it for. I could plug my Steam Deck into it, and then I could play games on the screen in my car, which is about the same size as the screen that my Steam Deck already has. So you've got LCD in and out, AV/USB plug, antenna, power, HDMI as I mentioned, and then dip switches for changing changing this for what screen you have. I have the, let's see, what is that, 8.8 inch screen, so 1 through 3 should be down, which they are, so I don't have to touch that. That's nice. What else do we have in here? Oh, they sent me another keychain. I do like the keychains. They're kind of nice. What else? We have our display cable, coaxial display cable. We have a Wi-Fi antenna, that's important. We have what appears to be a USB port and some AV ports and power for adding cameras. You can add a front and a rear camera. I'm not gonna do that because that sounds like a hassle and I don't have them. And then the main wiring harness. This is one hell of a wiring harness. Looks like we got 2 quad locks. It is a T-intercept harness, and this is the connector that actually goes to the MMI. This connects to the head unit, which is actually the part that does all the processing, and it's the computer for your radio in this car in particular. It is underneath the rear seat, so this wire needs to be run from the rear seat to where the box will be by the display. Yeah, just fabric wrap, Tessa tape, harness with a couple quad lock connectors. Not much to say here, so we just need to throw it in the car. About like that, really. I think the box itself actually goes in the glove box. I think the only tools we're gonna need here is trim tools and a T20. I think that's about it. Trim tools and a T20. I think the hardest part of this install is actually putting the back seat back in place. I've had the back seat off a couple of times, this bottom part, and getting it lined back up legitimately took years off of my life. I've seen some other people just slap it in and push and it's in, but for whatever reason, it is the absolute worst thing in the world for me to do, and I don't know why. I'm just cursed or something. I'm going to start here at the front by removing my screen. As you can see, my screen is a little bit sad. It was like that when I got it, and we're not going to be fixing that today because these screens are expensive and it doesn't quite bother me enough to spend $400. To take the screen off, there are 2 plugs up here that you remove, and then there's a couple Torx bits underneath there. So I'm gonna give that a go with my trim tool. I might need to go get a pick for this. 1 second, please. Oh, we lost him. Yep, sure enough, pick gets it done. does kind of mar up the plastic though. I don't love it, but I'm not really sure how else you're supposed to get those out of there. And beneath them, little bitty Torx. What is that, T20? Let's find out. Yep, T20. Now, there are instructions included with this, and they appear, they're pretty good. They look like they are more or less copy-pasted from the BMW service manual. There's a few unnecessary steps because, you know, service manuals always insist on doing things correctly. And in reality, you can kind of wiggle and pull things. And so there's quite a few steps that I'm not going to be doing. One of those steps is actually referring to the instructions while I do this. I'm just kind of winging it because that's how I do. Also, just because I forgot to bring the instructions out, and I believe this just lifts off. Yep, sure enough, there she is. And there is our LVDS cable. It is a coaxial video cable. And so we're just gonna push down and pull down. And we get there. Yeah, already there it is. There. Screenant. And this cable is going to get fed back through here, but first the glove box has to come out. Glove box on these cars is a goofy goober. There it is. More plugs to remove, some paperwork to not show on screen. Oh, that's where my roll of electrical tape went. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plugs under here. Remove those, and this is where BMW says you need to remove this because it overlaps just ever so slightly, but that's not necessary from what I've seen. I'm gonna try with the plastic pry tool again on these. Can I do it? No, they're like recessed. That is so frustrating. I hate using sharp objects when I don't have to. It's out, and wow, there's a generous amount of room in here. And is that really how you're supposed to get to the fuse box? That's tremendously inconvenient. Thank you very much, BMW. Anyway, we're going to take that LVDS cable that we unplugged. We're going to pull it back through this sort of display arm. I think I'm pulling on the right cable here. Yep, yeah, it was sort of glued in place, I suppose. And so that comes out of the way, and then we're going to grab our new cable and we're going to run it through. Here's our new cable. Straight end is going to run back in, and we're going to keep the angled in as the side that plugs into the LCD, just like it was with the stock cable. So just feed that guy through. Maybe. Up, there it is. There we go. And so now these two live in here, and these will plug into the MMI box, and this will plug back into our display, and we can reinstall our display. The box sits over here somewhere. They don't include any sort of, unless I overlooked it, there's not really any way to retain it. I might get some 3M double-sided tape to sort of stick it to the inside here. This looks like a good area for the antenna to go. There's no metal here that can block the signal, so I think the Wi-Fi antenna, which is this guy, can just sit in here like that, or maybe I go up here, but this is a little bit closer to the driver, so I'll probably do that. The box itself is going to sit in, honestly, it could maybe go in like that. No, never mind, the glove box goes down there. It's probably best left sitting off to the side, so we'll put the box over there like that. Working our way towards the back of the car, there's a couple panels here. This one should have screws in it, but my car never did. And this just sort of pulls. Oh, no, there is a screw. I'm just blind. There's 2 screws. Mine only has 1. So we pull this panel out. There we go. And then that lets us pull this kick panel off. Looks like there's a screw here. And there's the little fuse box that I thought was the only fuse box, but tells you how much I know. It looks like there's another screw up here that's kind of not super convenient, but it looks like I can get just enough of an angle on it. Right there, and out it comes. All these, and both of those screws are identical, and then this can, I guess it can't wiggle out. I have to pull the this guy. The this. Yeah, sure. Correct terminology. Sure enough, the sill plate kind of overlaps everything at both ends, so this has to come out before anything else, and that is a matter of pulling up on the outside, which makes a delightful noise. And then it just sort of comes off. Yeah, all of the fasteners fell off. How does this work? Oh, wow. Someone has definitely been in here before. That's a lot of insulation, actually. Wow, that's thick. Huh, I didn't think BMW prioritized that much with this car, but I guess they did. And then this is what actually is, this is what we're popping up against. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, look, this one's all messed up. Shocker. Okay, well, hopefully I have a chance to improve something about my car, but okay, you gotta go, bud. That's so sad. Alexa, play something, I don't know. But now we can pull this guy out, I think. Yeah. There we are. Looks like it had one of those funky connectors too. And now we can see our mid-bass driver there. That's nice. And we also have a nice clear shot all the way up into the glove box area. I've worked on quite a few BMWs. I've done a lot of this sort of install, and honestly, the i3 is probably one of the nicest to work on already. Like, already I can say that. And now the part of this that I'm not looking forward to, this seat, just pull up on the front, same as pretty much any other BMW. And off it comes. And then behold all of the disgustingness underneath. I'll just set that here. Yep. All right. Yeah, and under here we see another thing from Bimmertech. I took the amplifier out of my E92 and put it in my i3. They don't even know that I did this because they didn't send, I don't have a bracket, so it's just kind of shoved in there. But on a stock Harman Kardon system, that amplifier absolutely transformed it. 100% I would do an amplifier before you do anything else to the sound system in one of these cars if sound quality is something you care about. So now that we have all these panels off, I think this one as well, looks like it just has, yep, just one connector, or one clip. And then it's, maybe. Nope, it's something completely different. Okay, I'll have to get that off and put it back in. That's weird. Anyway, here we have our head unit. This is what does all of the actual computation, display, and interpretation of your media. Has a quad lock connector here, so we're just going to go ahead and pop off that quad lock, which is buried underneath all of these coaxial cables. Which side is it? Okay, that's the quad lock out, and this crazy bundle of cables in my way. I don't know if I'll put that back the same way. New quad lock. I did that wrong. Okay, there they go. All right, lay those back down where they were, and we're gonna route this guy probably over here somehow. I hope that it has enough clearance right there to not get smushed by the seat. Looks like it probably should. Oh, actually it should go, it goes over here somewhere. Hang on. the length of the cable kind of places a pretty harsh limitation on where that can go. But in the good news, we're pretty much done under the seat, as long as that works. Now we take the other end of our incredibly long cable and we run it back towards the front, starting with underneath this seat support here. And there's really only one reasonable place to run this through here, like that. And then I think, nope, there's not room there. I don't believe. No, there is not a void underneath that, so we're gonna have to go over the top of this. I don't love that. That might be a pinch point. Okay, and this cable is, you know, looks pretty normal. Looks like it's power, looks like 2 power rails of constant, a switched power, a bunch of grounds, and then these 2 twisted pair is going to be our left and right channel, because this is just acting like, I think this, yeah, this is going into the auxiliary input. So that's just going to be balanced twisted pair. Should be pretty good audio quality, honestly. And so now I just need to pull that through, and I guess I don't love doing that, but I think it's what we're going to have to do. This actually isn't a pinch hazard like I thought, because this piece of plastic sits over there, and it actually has 2 fasteners on it, not 1. So I ran the cable under there, then I set it on sort of the top here. If any water gets on this, I want it to be able to drain down away from the cable, so I just sort of set it on top here, and then it's going to come up. I'm going to run it behind the speaker. Well, I'm going to stick it sort of like this, and then up into the glove box, clear shot from down there, and then we can plug the box in and give it a test. That should be all cables ran. Pretty generous amount of cable, but not excessive. I was kind of worried about there being too much cable up here and having to pull some back through, but there's just enough for it to sit tidily over there. I'm gonna leave that sort of bundled up, and then we'll just plug everything in. It's just, the big connector goes here, the antenna plugs into antenna, and then our 2 LCD in and out. LCD in is going to be our factory connector that we pulled off of the LCD, so this purple one, and LCD out will be the one that we added right here, which is straight. And very difficult to plug in with one hand. So that's almost everything. There is also the USB and camera connector thing. I think you can use this for wired CarPlay or stuff like that. So that's going to go down in the same hole that this cable came through, which is just to the right of the fuse box here. And yeah, I'll just kind of let that dangle in case I ever need access to it, which I doubt. Would be kind of nice if it included an adapter to plug into the factory USB port here, but that might cause issues with iDrive, I'm not sure. So we're also going to plug our screen back in, and as you can see, it just hooks in and clicks, and then screws back down. Installation or reinstallation of all the body parts is pretty dang straightforward, as long as you make sure that you get all the clips out of everywhere. Otherwise, you're going to do what someone else obviously did and smash the absolute crap out of these clips that I've never seen before, so I'm not sure how easy they are to get. They're weird, like standoff Christmas tree type things. Odd. Yep, that seems okay. I'm a little worried about that stuff rattling, so I might grab some Tessa tape. But if we turn the car on, I don't remember how this works. Okay, stock iDrive, boots up, no problem. It's nice and warm out, 108 miles range, heck yeah. I think this works similar to the box of my E92 press and hold menu. So I'm gonna do that. Hey, it's working. Ooh, it's responsive. CarPlay, Android Auto, inputs, mirroring, and settings. What's inputs? USB or HDMI. Okay, what do we have for settings? Connections. Pair new device, paired devices. Okay, audio. We've got, okay, different volume settings for all sorts of different stuff. That's pretty cool. Automatic echo canceling, interesting. Skip songs with iDrive controller, auto switch to aux. How many bands of equalizer do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I lost count. 1, 4, 6, 7, 8. 8 band EQ. That's not too bad. Of course, I have everything equalized in my Bimmertech amplifiers, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Looks like that's it for audio settings. Display settings. Right-hand drive? Sure isn't. Color adjustments? Cool. Brightness, contrast, chromacity, and saturation. I think it looks fine. Looks like we've got crop factors for the display. Yep, don't need to do any of that. Looks fine to me. Parking, I don't have cameras, so I think I probably can turn off auto camera activation since I don't have them. Rear view camera mode, standard or alternative. Okay, rear view camera, factory or aftermarket. That's cool that this supports your factory camera if you were lucky enough to have one. And then we have, you can change what channel the Wi-Fi is on in case you're having CarPlay connectivity issues. This is the first aftermarket CarPlay anything that I have ever seen that option in. We've got different wallpapers. Yep, obviously. Oh yeah, that is the right level of tacky for me. I love it. Turntable up and down. Don't know what that means. Disable voice command key. Don't know what that means. Disable loop selection. Disable Bluetooth automatic connection. aux/Bluetooth output. Oh, so I could. Bluetooth audio supports for Android Auto or CarPlay. Ah, I see. I don't want to do that though. Interesting. And then factory reset and restart. So pretty good gamut of settings there. I'm going to go ahead and pair my phone. So if I go to settings, connections, pair new device, it looks like it has built-in instructions. I'm so sorry for how nasty my screen is, but we're going to go to start search, and then I believe in my iPhone, Android is probably very similar, to pair to a CarPlay device. If you haven't done it before, you go to settings, and then you go to Bluetooth, and it's going to pop up in Bluetooth, except it looks like it's searching for my phone. This is backwards. So here I am acting like I know how to do this, but I actually have no clue. I have no idea what that means, but we're going to roll with it. IAP2 profile. Oh, yeah, and it sent the request to my phone. So pair. Sure, we'll sync. Why not? And do you want to connect to CarPlay? I would love to. And now we're going to get blasted with copyrighted music here in about 5 seconds. Actually, I probably have to go back. Do any of... Oh, yep, there we go. Straight into CarPlay. I'm going to pull up some maybe not copyrighted music. I need to find something I have the rights to. I just want to make sure that the audio actually works before I wrap everything up here. Hey, it is working. We no longer have on-screen volume, which is an interesting decision. That's kind of how like my E90 is. It doesn't have on-screen volume. I always thought that was ridiculous. I'm curious, can I can. Awesome. You can jog left or right with the dial in order to change song. That is wonderful. What happens if I jog left and right? So turning left and right obviously just takes me through everything. Jogging left and right, it takes me from screen to screen. So this actually works quite a bit better than the CarPlay box that's in my E92, which is from a different manufacturer. It is actually using the using this knob exactly the way that my M2 does, which is in BT Evo, which has factory CarPlay. So this works pretty close to factory CarPlay, which I love, although of course there's no touchscreen in this car. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss everything back in the car, and I'm gonna actually use this for a few days, and then I will get back with you guys with what I actually think of it, because this is my daily, so I'm gonna get quite a bit of use out of this thing, and we'll see how reliable it is. My iPhone's been really unreliable with CarPlay on 2 other devices. There is a CarPlay radio in my Ranger, and then the factory CarPlay in my M2. This has been having issues on both of them. So I'm curious if it's my phone or if it's those devices. So we'll see how it is in here, but if I am having connectivity issues, your mileage may vary. It might just be this new iPhone that I just got.
It's been
2 weeks since I installed the CarPlay box, and now I'm able to give my honest opinions on how well it works. And the answer is very, very well. The only problem I had this entire time was when my girlfriend's phone and my phone are both paired, it tends to get a little bit confused. And that's nothing unusual. My M2 gets way more confused and will just break completely. So having to go in and manually select my phone and connect to it every now and then isn't the end of the world, and I've only had to do that twice in 2.5 weeks of daily driving. Beyond that, the unit's been really responsive and pretty problem-free. Siri responds well, calls go through just fine, and the audio quality is a lot better. Previously, I was Bluetoothing my phone to the built-in Bluetooth in this car, which was getting increasingly unreliable. It would drop out, it wouldn't display song titles, it wouldn't let me control the phone anymore. CarPlay has solved all of those issues, and the direct wired audio is noticeably better, especially with the aftermarket amplifier and the subwoofer. I am getting way better definition in my mids and highs. The Harman Kardon speakers are really able to sound their best, and I think I'm getting some smoother low-end bass response. It's just better codecs because Apple Music can support lossless and high-res streaming over Wi-Fi. It's what CarPlay connects over as Wi-Fi, and then the wired connection means that there's no fidelity loss from weird compression algorithms over Bluetooth. So as a lightweight audiophile, I am a big fan. As an installer, I think it's okay. I do kind of wonder why they opted to have a cable running all the way through the car instead of having the unit connect back at the head unit and interpret all of the signals back there. I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning was for that. I think some other units do that. Would have made the install a lot easier to not have to take out the glove compartment and whatnot, because that LVDS cable from the camera does go back and plug in back there. So I'm not sure why they opted for putting it in there. I think that might be for compatibility with other cars, because a lot of other F chassis cars with what is this, NBT? Yeah, NBT iDrive have everything in the dash. So I think it's more due to the fact that this works on a whole bunch of different cars. So installation in other cars is probably similar or even easier, because you don't have to run a cable back and forth to the head unit way back there. It's all on the dash. But I'm getting pretty off topic. If you have an older i3, I highly recommend this. And if you have an Android phone, I highly recommend this. 2017 and newer i3s, I think, had the newer iDrive MBT Evo that had CarPlay that you could activate, but they never had Android Auto. This adds that compatibility to a new car, or it adds CarPlay and Android Auto to an older car. You can also plug stuff in via HDMI, or use Bluetooth or direct audio in, and all the other inputs and outputs that we saw in there, and adding cameras. But I don't have the equipment to add the cameras and tell you how that is. My car doesn't have factory cameras, so I can't really do that either. One other caveat that I just thought of is that alerts and stuff that would pop up on your iDrive screen do not automatically overwrite the CarPlay screen. So if say you have your cruise control set, because the i3 has the absolute worst distance following cruise in the universe because it just uses one camera and it's very easily confused. If that disengages for some reason, you won't be able to see why, because CarPlay is up. And that's completely understandable, and that's not something that they can fix. It does make the screen go away when you go in reverse, because it's able to tell that you're in reverse over CAN bus, but messages like that probably don't go through CAN bus and aren't able to be interpreted by the box to flip back to the stock interface to show you those sorts of errors. That's pretty understandable and a pretty minor thing. Just push and hold menu and you can flip back to the stock interface at any time. It's actually quite responsive. Just push and hold, and we're in CarPlay, and push and hold, and we're back in iDrive, and you can do that at any time, at any screen, if there's something that you need to see in the factory car interface. So that does it for another audio video on the channel. I know some people get kind of tired of those, but I really like doing this sort of thing. All of my cars are kind of getting amplifiers and whatnot. I've just kind of amassed enough audio gear that the E30 and the Inside are also getting like multi-channel amplifiers installed. I'm probably not going to do videos on all of it, but this particularly probably made the biggest improvement to my daily quality of life, having CarPlay in my daily driver. But I've rambled on for long enough. I think that does it for this video. Check out the links below or the codes on screen. I'm not sure what there will be, but it'll be there. Probably a pinned comment too. Thanks for watching.